What's up, guys, and welcome to the Foot and Fist Sports Network, where today we're going to be talking about the huge card we have this weekend in the UFC, Jon Jones versus Ovince Saint Preux. You know, what a big fight it's going to be when Jon Jones steps back in that octagon after such a long time. You know, the greatest of all time is finally back. Jon Bones motherfucking Jones, you know. I think he's going to go out there, he's going to put on an amazing performance. He's going to be very hungry, and just based on seeing how much of an animal he's become, powerlifting, you know, deadlifting 650 pounds, he's going to come out there very, very hungry. He's going to be devastating. I think that Ovince Saint Preux is in for a very rough night. Now, just going based on what Jon Jones has done in the past, we know that he loves to beat somebody at their own game. Ovince Saint Preux's game is knocking you the fuck out. Now, whereas I don't know if Jon Jones has the power to knock somebody out because he's never really had that ability to knock someone out in one punch, the powerlifting may actually give him that extra pop in his punch. You know, we've seen his legs getting bigger. He's gotten bigger and stronger. So he may actually have that ability now. But if he doesn't do that, I still think he's going to have just too much of a technical advantage over OSP. And he also has, in reserve, OSP's big disadvantage compared to Jon Jones, which is going to be the wrestling and the ground game. We just know that OSP doesn't quite have the wrestling that Jon Jones has. You know, he was out-wrestled big time by Glover Teixeira. And there's a big difference between wrestling Jon Jones and wrestling Glover Teixeira. You know, Jon Jones is way better. I mean, way better. So if Glover Teixeira was able to take him down and grind him out, what's Jon Jones going to be able to do to him? He's going to do some very bad things to him. I think he's going to pound him out in the second round. He's probably going to stand up with him for the first round and then pound him out in the second. You know, a lot of respect to OSP for taking the fight. Also to Jon Jones for taking the fight on short notice. I just think that Jon Jones is going to be just too good for anybody, really. Not just OSP, but for anybody in the UFC. And I think that if he does have newfound power, goodbye heavyweight division, goodbye light heavyweight division, goodbye anybody who comes up from the middleweight division to have a super fight. Luke Rockhold, I'm talking to you, even though I fucking love you. I just don't see anybody touching Jon Jones. He's just too good. And welcome back, Jon Jones, the greatest of all time. Next up, I'm going to talk about Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson versus Henry Gold Medal Cejudo. You know, this is also a very interesting fight. You know, you have Demetrious Johnson, who, much like Jon Jones, is pretty much perfect in every single aspect of MMA. The striking, the wrestling, the footwork, the clinch game, the submissions. He's got everything, guys. He's got everything. He's the best fighter in the world besides Jon Jones. That's just the way it is. And I don't know if Henry Cejudo is going to be able to keep up with him. We all know that Henry Cejudo is an Olympic gold medalist. He won't stop talking about it. He completely talks about it, how he has that ring, and how Henry Cejudo, talking about himself in third person, won the Olympics. We get it, Henry. We get it. You're an Olympic gold medalist. But I really hope that Demetrious Johnson beats the fuck out of you, because you're really starting to get on my nerves. I'm just kidding. I don't have preferences. Jon Jones, my guy. Anyway, I think that Demetrious Johnson is just going to be too much of a powerhouse for him. Not necessarily in the sense that he's going to knock him out, but just in the sense that he's just too technical. He's too quick. And I think that his MMA IQ is just too high. I think Henry Cejudo, if he can manage to take Demetrious to the ground and keep him there early in the fight and maybe tire him out, then maybe he has a chance. But I just think Demetrious is too good of a fighter to fall into that kind of a trap. And I think at the end of the day, Henry Cejudo is in for a long night. Actually, maybe even short, because I actually think Demetrious is probably going to win in the second or third round via TKO. But it'll be interesting to see if Henry Cejudo can do something that nobody else has been able to do for a long, long time, other than Jon Johnson in the first fight they had, which is basically making Demetrious Johnson actually worry for once. You know, he's just such a great fighter. I just don't see anybody in that division beating him anytime soon. Next up, we have Anthony Pettis versus Edson Barboza. And guys, if you're looking for a crazy fight, this is going to be one of them. You know, we have Edson Barboza, who's knockout of, I can't remember who it was, but that wheel kick. You know, that is just one of the most legendary knockouts in UFC history. You see that highlight constantly, and goddamn, was that a beautiful kick. You know, Edson Barboza, technically, and just how fast he throws his kicks and how strong his kicks are, he's probably up there with Wonderboy Thompson and Anthony Pettis himself for the best pure striker in the UFC. You know, the biggest weakness Anthony Pettis has in his game has been shown in his last three fights, even though only two of them were losses. Gilbert Melendez sort of put out the blueprint, which is basically put him against the cage and grind him out and, you know, get him tired. That didn't work for Gilbert Melendez, but it worked in a big way for Rafael dos Anjos, and then it worked for Eddie Alvarez as well. Even though I actually think Anthony Pettis won that fight, there's no doubt that that game plan did work against him, and it really made life difficult for Anthony Pettis. My question is that going to be enough? Is Edson Barboza, going to be able to employ that type of game plan? Does he have that type of style in his locker? I personally don't really think he does. And I think that's going to be, a big miss for Edson Barboza, who had a great chance of, really employing something that Anthony Pettis doesn't quite have the answer for. Now, I think that Anthony Pettis, obviously we know how great he is as a striker, and we know that he also has some really, really good jiu-jitsu. But the wrestling is a big problem for him, and I think that that's probably why they gave him Edson Barboza, because the UFC knows that he's probably not going to try to wrestle fuck Anthony Pettis like guys have done in the past. Clay Guida, Gilbert Melendez, Rafael dos Anjos, and Eddie Alvarez. All four have had a lot of success doing that. Now, I think Anthony Pettis is just he's going to probably put more pressure on his opponent than he has in his past few fights, and I think that's going to be massive if he does indeed actually do that. I think he's probably going to get a knockout in the third round. Maybe even earlier, but I'm going to bank with the third round just because I think that Edson Barboza is a very tough guy. Although he did get knocked out by a Donald Cerrone jab, so who knows. But I think it's going to be a third round knockout for Anthony Pettis. Next up, guys, last but not least, we have Yair Rodriguez versus Andre Touchy-Fili. I think this is probably going to be the sleeper fight on the card. Now, hear me out. For those of you who don't know, Yair Rodriguez is probably the Mexico's biggest prospect. He is a legit striker. He's got crazy kicks. Very, very awesome to watch. But he's coming up against a Team Alpha Male prospect and Andre Touchy-Fili, who has pretty good striking. And obviously, if he's a Team Alpha Male fighter, he's going to have good wrestling. The question is Touchy-Fili going to be careless enough to get caught by one of those big kicks by Yair Rodriguez? I think he probably will. But at the same time, he could dominate the fight with his wrestling. But once again, there's another if. Yair Rodriguez has some submissions on his record. He's no slouch. Basically, he's a very complete fighter, which is something that we haven't really seen from the alumni that came out of that Ultimate Fighter Mexico season, Ultimate Fighter Latino America, excuse me. And I think he's probably going to really give Andre Touchy-Fili a tough fight, and I actually think he's going to win in the third round, just because I think Touchy-Fili might be a little too careless and get caught by a big head kick or a big body shot and just drop. We know Touchy-Fili is very explosive, and that might actually end up costing him against a striker of Yair Rodriguez caliber. I think this is going to be a tremendous card, guys. I really hope that you feel the same, and I hope that you watch the fights, because I think this is going to be a very, very big comeback for Jon Jones, and I think just fights in general are going to be tremendous this weekend. Let me know in the comments section down below how you think the UFC should work Jon Jones if he does win. Do you think he should fight DC at UFC 200, or should he fight DC in New York on the first card in Madison Square Garden? What about Anthony Pettis? Do you think he's going to be able to make that step to get himself back in the title contention at 155? And what do you think about Henry Cejudo's chances of taking the belt from Demetrious Johnson? Let me know in the comments section, guys. I look forward to seeing what you say. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. This right here is my brand new microphone that literally just came in a couple hours ago. It's my first microphone, so I'm making big investments to try to make this channel better. Right now, overall, I've been working with some rudimentary equipment. I've been trying to start off. You have to start off somewhere. And I really do hope that this channel can get big. And I hope that my passion for sports can be transmitted to you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please stick around to see how this channel grows. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.